All right, guys, moving forward, before we start, let me show you the LMS screen. You all are given the access on the Edureka LMS, wherein this is a one spot where you'll get everything. So how it happens is when you go to the when you log on to the LMS, which is on the Edureka site. So once you put in your credentials, you come to this screen. You go to the courses, select for my courses. You will see that whichever program you have registered for, go to your course, and here you will see these three tabs here, which will give you all the details. First thing is getting started, which will tell you that what all things you would require and what all things you are going to get, what are the interactive sessions, what kind of training you are going to get, the technical support, and moreover what are the other things you are going to get, software and hardware requirements. Next important tab is pre-recorded sessions, wherein you will get that recordings of all the sessions that we are going to have. So in case if you miss any of the classes, you will have recordings uploaded in your LMS, so you can refer that. Excuse me. Okay, and the last one is course content, wherein you can see that we have divided the Informatica batch to the different modules. We have the 16 different modules here. So you'll see the each module has a presentation, quiz, and the different assignment available here. So you can download and use these quizzes and assignments for your to check your understanding and knowledge. And you also have those presentations that we would be referring in some of the classes for our course. So you'll have everything available here. Yeah. So all the module wise, you have all the 16 modules information here. At the end, you have the Informatica interview and the certification questions as well. Moreover, in the LMS itself, you get a link to join the class in case you miss the mail wherein from which has the webinar link to join the class. You can simply log on to the Edureka LMS, and you'll see this link at the right, the join class. You can join the class from here as well. Okay. In case you face any issues related to the course, related to the subject, or anything else, you can raise an incident with the support team, which is available 24/7. You can go here. There are numbers, the US numbers and the India numbers available here. Then you select your course here, whether it's a generic question to Informatica, Edureka, or related to your course. You can select accordingly, select the category, and put in your question here. And the support team will get back to you. If they need any help from the, if they need to have any more questions from you, they'll directly contact you on the phone. So your all queries will be answered this way as well. All right, so this is all about the LMS. Let's go to the Informatica session now. We open up. So the same PDF we'll have uploaded in the presentation as well. So this is our module 1, wherein we'll be taking a quick overview of the Informatica PowerCenter. Excuse me. All right. So how it works is you have these details. We discussed few of this already. So we have the instructors, we have the live classes wherein you will be having all the interactive sessions, all the questions and answers will be there. You'll be asked to have a give the class feedback after each and every class. You have 24/7 support from the Edureka. There are class recordings. So see, the class recordings are more like a live class that you are attending, and you'll be for some reason. although I'll not recommend to miss any of the classes, try to be consistent in during these classes so that you do not lose the flow. But in case for any reason you miss the class, you have the class recordings there. You have the module-wise assessment, test, or the quizzes available. I would recommend that you take up those quizzes. Then there is a certificate and the project work information as well. Moving on, see, the key thing is LMS. Just log on to the LMS and you'll find everything there. Yeah. So the same thing is shown here as well. You go to your course and you have the join class link as well. So this is the 16 module topics that we are going to cover in this batch. We'll be starting with the module 1 today, and we'll also test the ETL fundamentals in today's class itself. Then we have the different Informatica interfaces, wherein we'll be going through little theory and more on the practical sides. I'll be doing the practicals on the Informatica screens to show you how it works. Initial session would be the theoretical ones, but the others one would be the more on the practical sides. The 3, 4, 5, 6 are the key modules wherein you'll learn the key things about the Informatica development. Then 7, 8 is also on the performance. 7, 8, 9 is more on the Informatica tuning side. How do you tune it a level up? Then comes the little few modules for the Informatica administration, which includes the PowerCenter repository manager, admin consoles, technical architecture, and the installation and operation manuals. And at the end, we'll be seeing the command line utilities, which is used for running your code from the back end. So every time you, from the development perspective, you might be running it from the front end, but you also need to understand that what are the commands which are running at the back end, and you can run those commands directly as well. And the 15 and 16 module is more about the best practices and the ETL scenarios. So we'll be covering this with the related topics. Whatever topics we cover, we'll be discussing the scenarios and the best practices at that time also. If anything is left, we'll be covering in this modules also. Yeah. So this is the overall structure of our course. So let's start with the module 1. And how it works is we'll be since we have the 3.5-hour class, we'll be continuing these batches. In some of the batches, we'll be using the presentations available on the LMS. In some of the batches, we'll be directly going to the Informatica screens and doing the practicals. Okay. In this 3.5-hour class, I'll expect everyone to join on time every day, so that we don't lose on time at the beginning, and we can start on time. In between, we'll be taking 1 or 2 logical breaks for 5 or 10 minutes, just to take a break from there, and we'll again get back to the course. Third, if you have any questions, anything in between when the presentation is going on or when the topics are going on, raise it through the chat window or the question window, and as and when we take the break or we take a logical break, we'll discuss those things. Yeah, I see a hand raised. So it is from Aditya. Yes, Aditya.
Yeah, actually, the funny thing is that I was trying to install that Informatica to my laptop, but I downloaded everything, but at the end there was some issue. So we probably need the Informatica software, right, to install it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Do you guys help us to download it or anything?
Oh yes. You can get in touch with the support team. They'll help you with the Informatica software as well as with the instructions as well.
Okay, cool.
Okay, and if you look at the LMS. You see, the very first thing is installation guide. You can refer this, and for to everyone know, so that everyone know, but before installing Informatica server on your machines, look at the requirements as well, the hardware and software requirements. Plus, you have to have a database installed.
Right.
first install the Oracle or SQL Server database on your machine and then attempt for installing Informatica Server. Yeah. So
Okay.
you'll have all those manuals and the softwares available there. You can, if there are any doubts, you can get in touch with support team. And after that, if there is anything getting stuck, you can take the help from them. So it is pretty straightforward. I'm getting a review from the Gopal as well. I think he has already done it and he got the help from there as well. So there
Okay.
should not be any problem in the installation. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Another hand raised is from Mr. Mohan. Yes, Mohan, tell me.
Yes, Sunil. Are you going to demonstrate us by using SQL Server or Oracle?
It is mostly on the Oracle. So in my laptop, I have a setup with the Oracle. So we'll be using that
Okay.
only. Yeah.
So there will not be any, difference between the SQL, because in my project we use SQL Server and Informatica.
Oh, no, no, no. From Informatica perspective, there should not be any difference. The only difference would be on the SQL side. So there are some few differences in the SQL syntaxes in Oracle and the SQL Server. So those would be the only ones.
I got you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So initial this, especially for this on this today and tomorrow's session, is more on the theory side. What we'll do, we'll cover this the presentation which is available in the module 1 and module 2. Apart from that, I have a couple of more presentations that we'll be discussing. We'll be discussing different dimension models and different data warehousing architectures, few key definitions which are important from your discussion perspective as well as from your interview perspective. So we'll be discussing all those things and we'll try to cover all those things in first two classes today and tomorrow. And then from the next weekend, next third class onwards, we'll be moving on to the Informatica interfaces, Informatica practicals and all. So I would recommend everyone that try to have Informatica installed on your machine. Probably not on this weekend, but max by the next weekend, so that you can continue with me with the course. All right. So in this presentation, we are going to see what is Informatica, what is the Informatica product suite. Then we'll see what is the purpose of Informatica PowerCenter, understand the architecture of it, and we'll see what is component-based development techniques in PowerCenter. All right, so all these modules or anything I'm discussing is available at the LMS. If there is anything extra, either I'll be directly uploading it through webinar or through I'll be providing it to the support team and they'll be uploading it to your LMS directly. So nothing else is, no coordination would be required as such. Support team will directly upload everything on your LMS itself. So make sure that you do not miss your credentials of LMS. All right, so starting with the Informatica, it is the Informatica Corporation is a big company which was founded in 1993, has a revenue of 1.6 billion, 1.06 billion. They are growing at a very good rate. It says 30% per year. Employees, they have a good amount of employees. Moreover, they have the partners with the different IT companies. So if your company is the one of the partners of Informatica, you'll have access to their sites and you'll access their study materials as well. Right, and they have a lot of customers. Customers are nothing but the companies which are using this Informatica softwares. See, the good thing about the Informatica is when I started my career with the Informatica, probably all the other ETL tools and the Informatica were at the same level. Be it the Informatica, Ab Initio, Data Stage, or maybe any other tools. They all were at the same level. But what happened over the years, Informatica has developed themselves. They have upgraded themselves by adding new functionalities, by upgrading their system, and nowadays the difference is huge. If you can imagine the Informatica usability, that Oracle had created a product which is called Oracle BI Apps, and although Oracle has their own ETL tool, but it could not be used. So they had to purchase Informatica PowerCenter from the Informatica Corporation, their license, and they use that Informatica software in their own product. So there are 4 or 5 technologies involved. Their source systems are there. There are reporting tool is there. There is their scheduler. So all are from Oracle. Only the ETL tool is used by the Informatica. Although now they are working on upgrading their tool so that it can match the Informatica capabilities, but for 2 releases they use the Informatica, and that's how it is. I mean, the product company is using the product of Informatica, so that's how they have established themselves in the market. Moving on. All right, so there is a wide range of products available in Informatica. So there is Informatica, they call themselves as a data integration tool, data integration company. So they have created several products which are helpful in doing the data integration in some or other way. So some of the products they have is data integration and ETL, which is more around Informatica PowerCenter, which we are going to cover in this course. Then they have the lifecycle management, like complex event processing, masking, data quality, replication, virtualization, MDM, which is master data management, and the ultra messaging, more related to real-time alertings. So we'll be going through these different products briefly in upcoming slides. So that's how they have placed themselves. So you'll not see that all the products being used in one company or in one project. The different projects would be used in the different products would be used in the different projects as per their requirements. Okay, so I've seen mostly the data integration, the PowerCenter is being used everywhere. Along with this, whatever kind of requirements customer or the client has, accordingly they buy the other products. See, another good tool which is there in the market for the ETL is Ab initio. It is a very good, very powerful tool. The good thing about the Informatica and I would say the best tools available in the market for the ETL is Informatica and the Ab initio only. But the difference between them is how the Ab initio is representing themselves is a one tool which can do everything. But the problem with that is very, very, very costly. The tool is providing everything to you, but that is very costly. And moreover, they do not have any common forums or the common support system wherein you can discuss your Ab initio problems or anything on the forums. You have to go to the Ab initio, they'll solve your problems and you're good to go. But you'll not see what they have done, how they have resolved the issues. Will not have insights. While Informatica has opened their system, they have created the open forums. You will find those forums on their sites itself. You can discuss your problems, others can answer. In fact, Informatica people will answer your queries. So it is an open forum. You will find your queries answers while doing the while doing the search on the Informatica community itself. If it is not there, you can put your question there and get the answers from there. Moreover, how Informatica has done is they have divided their they have the full solution, but they divided into different tools. Good thing is, if you just need a Informatica for reading from file and putting it into the database system, you may not require all the functionalities which are there. You do not require the different connectors which can connect with the mainframes or which can connect with the Sybase or the Siebel or maybe the SAP systems. So you are not paying for the company is not paying for the capability which you do not require. You just need a simple PowerCenter tool. It is there. It can connect to any database. It can connect to any file system. You are good to go. But on the Ab initio side, they provide everything. In turn, you have higher licensing cost. So that's the key difference between these two products. Okay. Right. Moving forward. See, this is just a representation wherein they say that they have all sort of products available in their suite which can help any users in the market, be it a business person, analyst, architect, developer, or a steward, and to the any environments, be it a small one, enterprise environment, Hadoop, or maybe other embedded or the legacy systems. So there are different tools are meant for the different purposes, and they are more like a add-ons to your basic Informatica tool, which is Informatica PowerCenter. Okay. So PowerCenter, which is the key tool, it is a fully integrated end-to-end data integration platform. PowerCenter Enterprise converts raw data into information to drive analysis, daily operations, and data governance initiatives. So if you're working on a data warehousing projects, the PowerCenter would be enough for you. If you are using the legacy systems, and those are the complex ones, wherein you are using the packed decimals and a lot other things, Informatica does have a direct connectivity to the mainframes, but if you have the complex things, there you can go for the in fact the mainframe connectors, or there are other tools available, which is data transformations and the power exchange. We can directly read from the mainframe files. More than that, there is information cycle management. It empowers your IT organization to cost effectively handle data growth. See what happens if you are starting with the basic projects, then it is pretty straightforward. You may not require many things. You're good with the PowerCenter. But as your business grows, so there are a lot of applications getting added to the system, and in order to help those systems, you may require the other small connectors or the other add-on tools as well from Informatica. Okay, so lifecycle management tool is more on that. How do you handle the data growth cost effectively? What all things do you need? Optimize test data management. So managing the test data as well is something you can do through information lifecycle management. Excuse me. Third one is complex event processing. Again, this is one of the tools which is used for the real-time systems. So complex event processing is they are trying to send the alerts at the real time. Like you are using the ATMs, you are doing the transaction through ATM, and before you are out of the ATM, you get the alert on your on your mobile saying that this transaction has happened on your account at this and this time and of this amount. So this is more of a real-time processing. Transaction happened, they processed it and sent out the alerts as well. So you need a very low latency software available there which can process the high number of volumes very quickly. The key thing about this complex event processing is they provide the user interface, so they do not require any technical person there. Business can directly use this complex event processing, which is Informatica Rule Point is the name of the tool, and put in their logics there, and they are good to go. Obviously, this is for the simple ones, like if the customer's overdraft limit or the limit is crossed or their balance has gone below zero or in negatives, then and you have set the correct formulas there, the alert will detect the transaction and send out the alert to the concerned person. Then there is a data masking. Data masking is more of a if you are working on the sensitive information, be it the medical information or the banking information of the customer, then you are asked to do the data masking. So there are different ways of doing the data masking. Some of the projects simply omit some numbers, say from the account number or the card numbers, or some of the projects do require the actual masking, wherein they can encrypt the data or mask the data, and they have the capability to decrypt the data as well. Okay, so that kind of a tool it is. So I'm just giving you the overview. Mainly we'll be discussing our PowerCenter only, but these are the other tools which are available. Then there is a data quality. Data quality, it provides a clean, high quality data regardless of size, data format, platform, or technology to the business. It helps in validating and improving address information, or maybe whatever data quality rules, it differs from organization to organization, project to project. So whatever data quality rules you want to define, you define that, and this tool will help you to the quality data as a result. Okay, obviously you can do the same thing from the PowerCenter also, but if there are lot many rules, high in numbers, the volumes are very high, then probably you have to go for a dedicated tool for the data quality. Data replication, again, if there are bigger systems, then you might require the data replication tool there, which is actually replicating the data, which is highly scalable, reliable, and non-disruptive to the performance of operational source systems. So nowadays, what is happening? Many organizations are upgrading themselves. Like earlier, when the data warehousing came into the picture, the concept came first. People started thinking on the data warehousing lines. Then they look for the implementation. So there are data warehouses which are implemented on the Excel as well. But later on, when the volume increased, the complexity increased, they move on to the other technologies like the Oracle or the PLSQL. So they are doing that data warehousing things, all the data loading and the reporting part using the PLSQL. But again, more complexity came into the picture. These ETL tools came into the market, and now there are many companies which are upgrading from the PLSQL or the other scripting languages to the ETL, be it Informatica or any other ETL tool. So that's how the projects are upgrading. Moreover, on the database side also, people who are using the Access, Microsoft Access, are getting into the Oracle. High volumes moving into the Teradata or any other. So data replication is always in the picture. They want the same thing to be replicated to the newer platform. That's where it is being used. Data virtualization. So what they're trying to do in the data virtualization, data warehouse is required when your, I would say, OLTP systems are very huge. So what you are doing, you are getting the information from all the OLTP systems and loading into the OLAP, the data warehouse, and doing the reporting on top of that. What data virtualization does is, if your organizations are smaller at the beginning level, what they do, they get the information from all the source systems or the OLTP system that does the reporting directly. They skip the data warehouse part. But again, that is only feasible for the very small organizations. So what they do, they directly read from the source system, do the aggregation at the runtime, and provide all sort of reporting, whichever is feasible. So that kind of a tool, the data virtualization is. Master data management, all the critical information is being stored, which is called the master data in a different database, and this kind of information may be required by all the applications available in the system, like the customer's email addresses, customer's phone numbers, customer's preferences. So all those things are required by all the applications. So that information comes under the master data category, and that we need a separate management for the master data. So that is called MDM. So there is a MDM tool available in the Informatica. Ultra messaging, again in conjunction with the complex event processing, when you want to send out the alerts at the runtime or at the real time, you have to have a system which can fastly process the large volumes of data. So ultra messaging is more on that. It can deal with the queue, the messaging queues, and it has a very low latency and can send out the alerts very quickly. Excuse me. All right, some more information on the products and their functionalities. So see, they have done a lot of acquisitions. Informatica, time to time, they've been involved in doing different acquisitions and using those products in providing the additional functionalities, which is helping in the data integration. So these details are there. You can go through it. Okay, we just went through it. Okay, so Informatica resources. We'll talk about the Informatica resources, what you can do, where you can register and access the Informatica resources there. As I said, Informatica has made it open for everyone so that they can discuss their problems openly. So that's what it is. So there's a site called www.informatica.com, which is Informatica's corporate site. You will have the different Informatica related information there, like every other site of any companies has. More on, they have the product information as well. So you can see all the product information there. What are the different new training offerings Informatica has? So Informatica, they have created their own university, Informatica University they call it, virtual university obviously, and they provide the different training programs. Mainly these are for the corporates, the companies. So you can see what all offerings they have. If you want to recommend any offerings to your organization, you can go by that. Okay. Right, so I see a hand raised by Amol. Amol, if it is not urgent, we can discuss it once we discuss this, at least this portion of it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Informatica customer portal. So what I would recommend to everyone, you go to the Informatica site and register yourself. You can register yourself either through your corporate ID or through your personal ID as well. Say your Gmail or Yahoo or any other ID you may have, you can register with that itself. See, the good thing about it, that once you register, you'll have access to the forums. You may not have the access on all the contents because you are logging in or you are signing up with the personal ID. If you are doing it with your corporate ID and your company has a tie-up with the Informatica, you may have access on the additional content of on the site. But at least I would say create a new ID and register yourself and see what all questions are being discussed there. And you can see the different problems being asked, different answers are coming through, and they have the different topics covered there as well. So you can refer that material also. So that's what it is. So go to the communities.informatica.com and register yourself. Okay. So they have the Informatica documentation also available there. I'm not sure if that is that will be accessible or not. If it is not, you can find it online as well. If you search on it, you can find it. Okay. Okay. So this is some information about the Informatica certification. So there are basically three certification. One at the administrator level, other is the developer level, and third is the overall certification, and obviously the toughest one. So you can go for these certifications, but not directly. First, you have to have this training completed. You have to have some project experience, and once you are confident enough, then probably you should be going for those certifications. So they have value in the market, and if you are interested, you should go for those as well. Okay. All right. Moving forward. So you're going to start on the PowerCenter, but before that, let me understand the questions. First, the questions were raised by the Gopal. So yes, so Gopal is saying that he has worked on the ab initio, and the ab initio is very costly to get the license. You have to show your data capacity to use their tool. So yes, there are a lot of restrictions for using the ab initio, and probably you will not get any training materials or training classes for the ab initio unless and until somebody is doing it, uh, unethically and discussing or sharing their project tool and all. Otherwise, it is not possible to have a training on the ab initio. Okay. Coming to the Amol. Amol has raised a hand. Yes, Amol, you have a question?
Actually, I just heard a lot of about the PowerCenter and MDM. So I didn't know exactly what is the relation between these two, like how they, because PowerCenter is just basically for converting raw data into the daily operations, like daily operations, drive analysis, and the MDM is basically for master data management to handle the
Yes.
critical data. So how
Yeah.
it is exactly? I mean, most of the requirements are for this kind of two products only.
Okay. So see, Amol, they two are both are the different things. So PowerCenter is a generic tool which processes information. It could be master
Okay.
information, it could be day-to-day operational information, or it could be a data warehouse information. Okay. While the MDM, the master data, is the critical data which is used by all the applications in the market, and the MDM data should not go down. So they have this the separate features, separate tool available for managing such kind of a data. So that is MDM. So Informatica, whenever you use the Informatica PowerCenter for enriching your operational data, we go to the MDM and get some information from the MDM tables. That is
Okay.
what it is. That's why they are interacting with each other many times.
Okay. So are
Yeah.
we going to cover that as well, MDM, as part of this course?
Oh, no, no. MDM is a altogether separate tool. So it won't be part of
Oh,
this. Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So we'll be covering Informatica PowerCenter only in this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I did discuss all the tools which are there in the market from Informatica, so that you understand that what all Informatica is all about. Informatica is a very big company now, and they have the several tools offerings. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? All right. So let's move on to the introduction to PowerCenter. So PowerCenter, it is a single unified enterprise data integration platform that allows companies and government organizations of all sizes to access, discover, integrate data from virtually any business system in any format and deliver that data throughout the enterprise at any speed. Okay. All right. So again, I see another question here. So Suren is asking the difference between Informatica and MicroStrategy. Okay. Can anyone tell me what is the difference between Informatica and the MicroStrategy? Anybody heard of MicroStrategy before? You can raise your hands. Okay, I see few hands raised. So I'm unmuting Shiva. Probably can tell us about the MicroStrategy. Yeah, Shiva.
Yeah, hey Sunil, MicroStrategy, we use it for gathering all the data together. It's a into it's a SQL server. They use a SQL server, right? So into SQL server and showing up on the reports. I don't think they have the ETL operation in that one, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Just
So
it's a gathering of data. I mean, getting all
yes.
data into one place, I guess.
Yeah, it is more of a reporting tool which works on the information collected in the data warehouse or in the common system using the ETL tools. So, Suren, to answer your question, Informatica is an ETL tool, while MicroStrategy is a reporting tool which access that information and provides the reports in a different user-defined formats. Okay, thanks, Shiva.
Yeah.
So, coming to the PowerCenter. So PowerCenter is nothing but an ETL tool. Okay. So ETL majorly they are used in the data warehousing environments. Okay, wherein they read from the different heterogeneous systems and they stage the data, do all sort of transformation, perform different kind of logics there, and then loads into the data warehouse. So, but it is not only limited to the data warehousing projects only. Since it has the ability to interact with the different databases, it has the ability to do different kind of validations or the reconciliations, then it is used for the different kind of projects also. So besides data warehousing projects, there are the migration projects, there are the conversion projects. You want to take information from one system to another system, you use Informatica there. You are merging two systems, again you would need a tool which is capable of interacting with these two different systems. You would again need a Informatica there. So there are many other projects categories wherein ETL is being used. Okay, so it's not only limited to the data warehousing projects. So the main advantage of PowerCenter over the other ETL tool lies in its robustness, for it can be used in both Windows and Unix-based systems. So your Informatica server can lie on Windows as well as on Unix systems. Generally, Unix systems are preferred, but there is no limitation. Right, like now you all are going to do, or like I have done, I have Informatica installed on my personal machine, which is a Windows machine. I'm not installing it on the Unix machine. While on the when you go into the corporate or into your projects, mostly your Informatica servers are installed on the Unix or the Linux machines. Again, the interfaces that we are going to access, they are the GUI based. So you will be accessing it through the Informatica client only, not through a server. PowerCenter can read from a variety of different sources and write to the many targets and do the transformation in between. So it can interact with almost all kind of databases. There are few specific databases like mainframes or the Sybase or maybe SAP, for which they need the special characters, special connectors. Otherwise, it can interact with almost all the databases. The main advantage of PowerCenter over the ETL tools: robust, and it is high performing, but yet very simple. Okay, so it is very simple to work, simple to learn, to understand. Okay. All right. Moving forward. So there are different versions available in Informatica. I started with version 6, then they launched version 7, 7.1, 7.5, 8, which was a major release, 8.1, 8.5, 8.6. Version 9 came into the picture, 9.0, 9.1, 9.5. Latest as of Feb 15 is 9.6. I recently heard they launched the beta version of the next version, which is Informatica PowerCenter version 10 in October, in this October. Although still it's a beta version, so probably there are a lot of hotfixes coming in. You see this HF, it is nothing but a hotfix too. So what they do, they launch the beta version first, which is used by the different companies, and whatever queries or the issues they find and issues are reported, they fix it through the hotfixes. So these hotfixes come up to the 3 or 4 levels, and beyond that, then they go for the next version. Okay. Moving forward. Next key thing is the architecture of Informatica is SOA based. Okay, it is SOA is nothing but a service-oriented architecture. So earlier till version 7, Informatica was more of a desktop-based tool. Okay, but now from version 8 onwards they made it service-oriented. So now they are more on the service based. There are different services running on Informatica, which is interacting with each other in order to maintain the metadata or in order to run your code. Advantage of SOA based architecture is it is not machine based. Okay, so if one machine goes down, it does not mean that your Informatica is going down, because it is more on the web. Your services are running on the web, so they are not going down. Okay, and in turn giving you the high availability. So there are a few other concepts related to the high availability. We'll discuss it in the upcoming slides. Okay. As the slide says, the main aim of SOA is to provide improved performance and high availability. Okay. excuse me. Okay, so here is a again another way of describing the PowerCenter architecture, where it says on the left side you see the providers, which is nothing but a different source systems which are providing their data. It could be XML or the messaging system. It could be packaged applications or the specific applications to the organizations. Then there are relational or the flat files. Relational means databases, any kind of databases, or the simple files, or the mainframe system, the legacy systems. So Informatica interacts with all such source systems. There are different interfaces, which is designer, workflow manager, workflow monitor, different services running at the background. So this middle section is all Informatica. Client facing or whatever tools we will be interacting are these three ones: designer, workflow manager, and workflow monitor. And in order to run these tools properly at the backend, there would be these services running: repository services, integration services, repository, web services, all those things. And at the end, at the consumer end, at the target end, again, it can load the data in all such source systems which are available at the source. So any legacy systems, databases, package applications, or the messaging systems. Even it can directly go for the reporting system as well. Okay. So I see a couple of hands raised, so we'll be discussing your queries. In the PowerCenter architecture, there are default parallelism applied. So what we call in the normal scripting or the normal programming, we have the multi-threaded system. Similarly, the multi-threading is done at the Informatica end as well. If you see the first diagram, which says the partition points, so there are 3 threads which are created automatically. So the diagram that you are seeing is nothing but a Informatica code, you can say, Informatica mapping, we call it. So they create three threads automatically when you run your code. The 3 threads are provider thread, transformation thread, or consumer thread. You can say reader thread, transformation thread, and writer thread. So reader thread is reading the information from the source. Writer thread is writing into the targets, and transformation thread is doing all the transformations. Okay. Beyond this, if you need more parallelism, there is a concept of pipeline parallel processing. We call it pipeline partitioning in the Informatica terms. So you have done the one flow divided into the 3 threads. Now if you want to divide the data into the multiple partitions, that internally you can do that partitioning as well. Okay, so there are a lot of performance related things available in Informatica. So we'll be discussing those things as well in our upcoming classes. Okay. Okay, so there are tools which are, there are 5 tools available in the Informatica. They are calling the client components and the server components. So you see the RDWM. R is repository manager, D for designer, W the workflow manager, and M is workflow monitor. So we'll be working on these tools in our all the classes. Okay. Then there is a repository, which is nothing but the metadata repository where all your code would be stored. There are services which will access this repository information and running and managing your code. This, the left one where you see the login, it is nothing but the 5th interface of Informatica. Again, for the administrators, it is called Informatica Admin Console. So this Admin Console, which is a web-based tool, and this R, Repository Manager, is the administrative tools, while D, W, and M are the developer tools. Okay, let me see the question. I see a couple of questions. One is from Shiva. Do we have to learn PowerCenter first to know about MDM? No, Shiva. There is no such limitation. So MDM is more about the master data management. It's altogether a different tool. Okay. So they are not dependent on each other. So MDM is more of how you store the master data, how do you store the critical information, and how do you provide the facility so that hundreds of applications can access the data at the same time. Okay, so they are not at all dependent on each other. But yes, they do work together in many of the projects because there is master data in all the projects, and there is either Informatica or other tools being used to access the master data. So this master data solution is not only provided by Informatica, there are other players in the market. Okay. So next, so Shiva, does that answer your question, or do you have anything else? Okay, I believe you are okay. Oh yeah, thanks. So coming to the next question from Gopal. All right, so Gopal has a question on the architecture side. Slide. Let me go back there, Gopal. Yes, Gopal.
I'm sorry, I missed most of the part on the architectural thing. Could you please repeat it quickly, overall architecture?
All right, okay, I'll do it. So see, it is pretty simple. What we are trying to say here is there are different source systems, different target system. Informatica PowerCenter falls in between, which interacts with the different source system and can interact with the different target system. It can read from any kind of system, it can write into any kind of system. In order to do that, we'll be using the three different tools of Informatica, which is Designer, Workflow Manager, and Workflow Monitor. Okay. In order to run these tools, so we'll be interacting with these tools only. Okay, this is the interface to us, to the user, to the developer. At the back end, in order to run these tools, we'll have repository database, which is nothing but a metadata database. So when we say for Informatica installation, we need a database first. So this is where this why the database is required, because this database would be used for loading your metadata or your code information there. And in order to manage that, there would be different services running, which is repository services, integration services, and the web services. So this is the very high level Informatica architecture which we are seeing here.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more question just came in mind. In the beginning of the class, you said like we can easily say 4 or 5 years of experience. Do you think after completing this course, we'll get to a proficiency of the level of 4-year experience guy?
Yes, you will.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Thank you.
See, okay, Aditya has a question. Okay, I'll come to you, Aditya. So Gopal, how it is when I say you can show your experience up to the 4 years, because whatever topics we are covering here, and if you do the proper practice of those topics, you'll understand how Informatica works and how the developer is what a developer is required to do. So if you can practice those things, in fact, if you practice the questions that are given in the assignments in your LMS module wise, if you do that, you're good to clear any, in fact, a 4 years experienced person's interview. If you have the less experience and you are giving those answers, you would be the preferred ones. But yeah, up to the 4 years experience, you will be easily can crack the interview questions. Okay, so Aditya has a question which says, okay, Aditya says how the code is saved into the database. Are those in form of structured or the unstructured codes? All right, so Aditya, the way we store the information, in fact, we don't store that information ourselves. That is done by the Informatica internally. So what they do, there are a lot of properties, a lot of codes available. So they break that information into the tabular format. So when you do the server installation, Informatica actually creates a lot of tables at the back end. In this repository, as a whole, we call it a repository, and then it stores that each and every property information or each of the code information into the different tables. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Anyone? before we move forward? All right, so moving to the further slides. So again, as I said, there are 5 sub-interfaces, 5 components you can say in the Informatica: repository manager, designer, workflow manager, workflow monitor, and the administration console. So again, the first and the last one are for the administration, while other 3 are for the development. So earlier there were only 4 interfaces up to version 7, RDWM, and all are desktop based tools. Informatica administration was also a desktop based tool activity. Repository manager has a lot more, I would say, the authority and the features in there. But from the version 8 onwards, they moved most of the administration part into the admin console, which is a web-based tool. Okay. All right. Okay. So now we are talking about the different services which are available at the Informatica PowerCenter level, which is required to run the Informatica. Again, these are the all virtual things for us. We'll not be seeing any services running as such, but yes, from a understanding point of view, you should understand that what all those services are running at the back end, what services are taking care of what things. So first is the repository service. The repository service manages the repository. So whatever we are storing in the metadata database, in the repository database, everything is done by the repository services. So it automatically reads the code, reads the properties, or reads the settings that you have done at the code level in your GUI, in the designer, workflow manager, or monitor level, and it converts that information into the tabular format and store it in the repository tables. Okay. While the integration service, it is required to run your code. Okay. So if your repository services are down, your Informatica is down. You cannot do anything. You can't even log in. But if your integration services are down and repository services are up, you can log on to your Informatica screens. You can develop your code, but you cannot run your code. Okay. So that is the difference. Repository services and the integration services are the default services which are coming with the PowerCenter. Additional services are the SAP BW services and the web services. So SAP BW services is used when you are interacting with the SAP databases. So they require the separate set of services which can interact with the SAP system and read or write information into those systems. Similarly, again, these are the add-on services. You have to buy, one has to buy that additional services from Informatica. Similarly, the web services hub, when you are accessing the data from the web services or you are uploading the data onto the web services, you require a different set of services which is called web services. Again, requires an additional setup, additional license. Okay. So we already seen a very high level of architecture there. Going into little more detail. So you have the source systems, you have the target system. What they are doing is either through native drivers or the ODBC drivers, they are interacting with the Informatica domain. And again, through native drivers or the ODBC drivers, they are loading the data into the targets. In between, when they are interacting with the domain redirects that queries or the data information to the different client tools, which is R, D, W, or M. Okay. Obviously, it is storing that whatever information we are doing, they are interacting with each other. So some information is coming from the domain and some information is going back to the domain. Similarly, repository service is helping in retrieving the information from repository, from the metadata, and sending that information or getting that information back to the client tools. So using client tools, we are actually interacting with the domain or the repository services and the repository and processing that information. So all the complexity lies here, which is hidden from us. When Informatica provides the GUI in form of these 4 tools, it is hiding all the complexity at the back end. So whatever complexity you do, like we do the programming, when you do the programming at the machine language level, it is the toughest one because you are actually dealing with the complexity. Then you come to the C or C++, which is hiding some level of complexity. Coming to the Java, hiding a lot of complexity at the back end. You are just working with the classes or the packages available. Working with the GUI tools, making our life even more simpler. Hiding all the complexity at the back end, doing all those things at the back end. You're doing your job at the front end, writing say one line which is equivalent to the 100 lines in the probably the low level language, whichever it is. So that's how these GUI tools are available. Now more on the interaction part. So they work on the network, so they use the TCP/IP. For the admin console, they use the HTTPS. Okay. Now coming to the native drivers or the ODBC drivers. So native drivers and ODBC drivers is so whichever database is used in your server. So Informatica will have the native connectivity to that database. So like we are using the Oracle. So if you are using the Oracle sources, we can use the native drivers there because those are the tightly connected drivers. But we have used for our repository the Oracle database, and for our source system we are connecting with the Teradata. So we can connect to that, but we'll have to use ODBC connectors or ODBC drivers. That's the only difference there. Okay, so Sujata asked what is the difference between the repository metadata and domain metadata. So all the metadata goes into the repository, Sujata. So there is no separate space for any other metadata. All metadata is being stored there. Moreover, domain is a logical entity, which is like a you can say the logical parent thing, which is containing everything. From repository services, integration services, core services, everything is under domain only. Okay, so domain metadata is more of a high level thing, what you require to so repository metadata is more on what you require in the code. It is a code spec. While domain metadata, which is referred here, no separate database as such, but this is more for required to work on the Informatica, how the Informatica logins will work, okay, how the log services will work, okay. So all those things come under the domain metadata, but there is no separate database as such. The same database, a different table would be there. Okay, our tools, the client tools will be directly interacting with the repository databases, repository tables only, not with the domain tables at the development level. Okay, that's why they are represented by the different ones. Okay, so there are different representations of the same architecture. So we'll see if there is anything, or probably you can go through it and do let me know if you have any questions here. Again, we are dealing with the 4 tools. There are sources, targets, there are repository services in between. Okay, Power Connect. They are connected through whichever so Power Connect is nothing but a separate connector which is used for connecting with the SAP or the PeopleSoft systems. So if you see these all files are the special files: SAP1, PeopleSoft, Siebel, MQ is the messaging queue, TIBCO. So you need a separate connectors for that. This is all it is, and then there is a DTM, which is a data transformation manager. Again, a kind of a service which is managing all the threads. We said we have the different threads available: reader thread, writer thread, transformation thread. So all those threads are managed by the DTM. You can say it is an internal manager which is managing all the services. Okay, coming to the sorry features of domain. It says the salient features of domain are domain is a logical collection or the set of nodes and services. So if you ask me where is the node, I can show you where is the node. But if you ask me where is domain, so there is no domain. There's no physical existence of domain. It is a logical entity which contains everything. Okay, you can say the container entity which contains everything. Okay, it's a logical collection of set of nodes. So node is nothing but a server. Okay, so from version 8 onwards, when the Informatica went on the SOA architecture, service-oriented architecture, so what had happened is it is no more limited to the one server. One Informatica setup can have multiple Informatica servers. Okay, so Informatica server will be installed on the different machines. All are treated as a server. So it gives you the access or gives the power of high availability. It means if one server goes down, other server takes up the task of the main server. So that's how it is done. So there could be set of nodes, single node or maybe multiple node systems. The PowerCenter domain is the fundamental administrative unit of PowerCenter. Okay, so when you open the Informatica admin console, we'll see in our when we are covering this administration topics, you will see that the container task that we have or the top level task that we have available is the Informatica domain, where your repository is defined, your integration service is defined, and all those things are available there. Okay. Okay. Then domain can be a single PowerCenter installation. It can consist of multiple PowerCenter installations. As I said, the more number of nodes, more number of installations. Okay. The salient features of node is nothing but a physical machine, physical server machine. So it says is a physical machine. It has a physical attribute such as host name and a port number. So what we can do is, if our machines are lying on the same network, we can have our servers installed on the individual machines, and we all can lie under one domain, logical domain. Okay. Each node runs on the service manager, which is responsible for application and the core services. So far we have studied about the two services, which are repository services and integration services. Both fall under application services. So core services is something which is required to run the Informatica. Run as in start the Informatica or manage the Informatica. Basic things, the log information, okay, the licensing information. So all those services are managed by the core services, for which we are talking about the domain metadata as well. A node can be a gateway node or a worker node, but can belong to only one domain. So say we all have the servers installed, we all connected ourselves, all our machines under one domain. Okay. So now all nodes cannot be at the one level. One has to work as a gateway node. Gateway node is nothing but a master node, which is actually taking all the instructions and distributing the work among all the other nodes. So if one worker node goes down, the other node goes down, the other node will take it up. But if the gateway node goes down, then we have to define the secondary node as well, which takes up the gateway node's responsibilities. Okay. In turn, giving us the high availability options. Our Informatica is never going down actually. That is the key thing with the multi-node system. Again, there are a lot of investments involved, a lot of server cost is there, but yes, if you're working on the critical systems wherein the volumes are high and you want to support multiple applications, hundreds of applications, then you may go for, companies do go for the multi-node system. where they have the proper backups and the high availability options. Okay, so talking about the gateway node is the node where all core services are meant to run. Okay, so all core services are managed only at one node, which is gateway node. It will take care of all the licensing and all. The primary function of gateway node is to route all service requests from PowerCenter client to available nodes. Okay. If gateway node is available, a domain cannot accept any service request. Only one node within the domain can act as a gateway node at the given point in time. So it is important to define the secondary node. Again, this is admin related things, but yeah. If you don't define the secondary node and your gateway node goes down, your Informatica is down. Okay. So all right. So I'm seeing the question from Sujata, which she says repository services and integration services must be on one node. Yes. So Sujata, how it happens? It is more related to the node. If we all are bringing our machines excuse me, if we all are bringing our servers on under one domain, so what will happen? All our machines will have a set of repository services and the integration services. Okay, so 3 servers are involved. Each servers will have their own repository service and integration service, while the gateway node will take care of core services, which is common to all 3 nodes. Okay. So Gopal asked, how many users can be there on the single node? There could be n number of users. There is no limitation on that. It's just your server should be able to handle those many logins. If your server is capable, it has a high, good hardware and good processing power, it can handle n number of users. Okay. Yes, server machine is called as a node. Okay, and to one server machine there could be n number of clients connected, and client is the one through which we actually interact with the server. So what I said in the beginning is our Informatica can be installed on the Linux machine or on the Windows machine. So say if it is installed on the Windows machine or maybe a Linux machine, we are not directly logging on to the server. What we are doing, we are having our Windows machine available in our companies, wherein we'll be installing the Informatica client, giving the server details to configure it, and then accessing the server. So we are always working on the Windows machine only. But yes, Informatica server can be on the Unix or can be on Windows. Doesn't matter to us actually. Okay. All right. So guys, I'm going to take a logical break here for 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll reconvene and continue with the presentation. Okay. And yeah, do park your questions in the chat window or the question window. We'll take care of that. See, I'm seeing a question now from Amol. Can it be on Mac? Oh yes, it can be on Mac. When we talk about the Linux and Unix, it is actually the Mac systems only. So it can be there. Yeah. So when we say, okay, Gopal has a question here. So we are getting tricky here. So says, can we have 2 different machines, Windows and the Unix, connected to same node? So Gopal, one IP address, or I would say the one machine name, cannot be used twice or as a 2 different nodes. Okay. So even if you have the 2 OS installed on one machine, Unix as well as Windows, you'll have to use only one OS for your Informatica server installation. So either you can use Unix or the Windows. Okay, let me understand your question. Let me unmute you. Yeah, Gopal, tell me.
Here's the thing, like, see, what my understanding is, a server is a node, right? So basically, to that node, I can connect, you can connect, or anybody in the world can connect. Like you said, a number of
Users can connect. Yes.
users can connect through the Informatica client, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
let's say I have a Windows machine, you have a Mac, and the other guy has a Unix. So can three of us connect to the same server? Because our operating systems are different.
Oh, okay. So yes, so Windows person can connect, Mac person can connect. For the Unix one, since it does not have any GUI. Okay.
No, but are all three of us are connecting to the same server?
Yes. That you can do. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
See, what we do when we configure our client, we give the server details there. That on which server
That's
machine
what
it
I
is
thought
installed.
so.
Yes.
That's what I
yes.
thought
So you
so.
can. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right.
It's independent of your operating system. I understood. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. All right, guys. So just a quick break, 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll reconvene. Yeah. Park your questions in the question window. We'll discuss first your questions, and then we'll proceed further. Okay. I think you have muted yourself. Yeah.
Hello?
Hey, Mohan. Yeah.
Yeah, can I get any site wherein I can know about more about the data warehousing concepts?
So there are if you search on the Google or whichever search engine it is, you'll quickly find there are the data warehousing named site is there. You can use that, or there are many sites available.
Yeah,
These
I
are
mean,
the
like,
generic concepts, so you can go through that. Or probably in tomorrow's session, I'll be covering a lot of data warehousing concepts.
okay.
So you can
Okay.
refer that as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. So we'll be ending our class with the quiz session. So I believe if everybody is getting it, we'll have a quick quiz round, and wherein we'll have the questions there, and I'll be expecting answers from you all. Okay. So be there, hang in there. All right. So there are no further questions. Then let me proceed with the slides. See, these initial classes are the theory ones. So I would say little boring ones, but yes, to give you the background of the tool, it is important. Okay. So we studied about the Informatica domain nodes. Just summarizing it. Just to summarize it, the gateway node routes requests from clients to the appropriate node. So why we are having multiple nodes under one domain is to distribute the work. If there are 100 applications running, if we run all the applications on one server, obviously that server is overloaded. So distribute those applications. We are creating multiple nodes, and the master node or the gateway node is distributing the jobs to the different servers. So like you see here, there are 3 nodes they have created: the manufacturing node, sales node, and the finance node. That's how they named it. So all the manufacturing related jobs are being run on the manufacturing node, sales related jobs are running on sales node, and the finance jobs are finance node. The gateway node is also running some jobs. It's not like it is just routing the information, it is running as well as routing. Okay, now talking about the services. What is service? In a very generic term, it says a service is a resource that provides specialized functions. All PowerCenter processes run as a service on a node. Okay, so service is service which is doing some specific tasks, and we are defining the different kind of. We are going to study about the different services. I see a question from a hand raised by Shiva. Let's see. Yes, Shiva.
Here's a quick question. So you said we can divide the nodes like manufacturing, sales, and other departments, right? So who does it? Like as an admin guy does it, or as an admin, as a developer does it, or
no, administrators does it. They say they have different nodes. And when you run your node, run your code, when you promote your code to the actual live environments, at that time you specify that on which node you want to run the job. You have to classify that whether it's a manufacturing job or sales job, and accordingly you run it on the particular node.
Okay. So admin guys will be giving us all that instructions, like what are the servers they have, what are the nodes they have, so that we can deploy
We'll
it.
give you the information what all servers we have, and then we'll have to tell them that yes, this will fall under this category, and it should be running on this node.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So PowerCenter has two types of services: application services and core services. As we said, the core services are the services which are at very high level, which is required to maintain your domain, which is required to maintain the log services, maybe licensing services, or maybe the authentication services. Okay. So core services are at the top. Without core services, Informatica cannot run, or you can't even log in, or your even Informatica server will not be up. Okay, Informatica services will not be up. While the application services are more related to the Informatica code. So repository services and the integration services are the two varieties we have in the application services. Repository services, which is interacting with the repository database, repository login and all, those are things are taken care by the repository services, while the integration services are more related to running your code. So when you create your code and you want to run your executable, the integration services will be running at the backend in order to execute that. Okay, so one core service and two application services, repository and the integration services. Okay, so repository services, I think we went through this slide earlier also. Retrieving, inserting and updating the metadata in the repository tables, while the integration services is required to run the sessions and the workflows. Session and workflows are nothing but the executables to your code, executables to your mapping. So we'll see when we see the interfaces, we'll see how it works. SAP BW services and the web services are the additional services with the extra licenses required for the specific databases like SAP or the web services. Service manager. I did talk about the DTM, which is data transformation manager. You can call it as a service manager as well. So it is a service that manages all domain operations and runs on each node. Each node has its own service manager. It controls the domain, maintain all the services which are running on the domain, and provide the service lookup. How the services are running, how it is being maintained, and what all things services are doing. All those things are maintained by the service manager. Typically, you can say a manager or the team lead sitting on top of all the services. On all nodes, the service manager is meant to control the core services and application services. Whatever kind of services we have, all are maintained by the service manager. Again, a logical entity. All right. Probably the similar picture we seen in the previous slides as well on the architecture side. So it says how different components of PowerCenter interact. You can see these ODBC drivers we talked about when they come on the network. The server and the client tools are interacting with the TCP/IP. Admin console is access to HTTP. Generally, it is S, the secure HTTP. Domain and the repository are actually closely connected through native drivers. And source and target depends. If they are of the same database, which is of repository, then the native drivers, otherwise ODBC are the database connections. For us, there is no such difference as such. As a developer, there's no difference for you. Whether it be a native driver or the ODBC driver, your process is same. You just have to select the correct connection, which is connecting to your database, and you have to take the data from there. Okay. you see these services. I think earlier someone was asking. Okay, I think Sujata was asking about the services. So if you see, so Sujata, these services are available on all the nodes. Service manager as well as domain services or the application services are available here on each node. So if there are two nodes, they have their own set of services and the service manager, be it a gateway node or the other node. Okay. Coming to the component-based development techniques. So what Informatica suggests and I would say supports is the component-based development techniques. So not a very I would say the concept which is very unique. It's a pretty generic concept, the component-based development techniques. So what it says is Informatica supports the methodology where you develop your components, and if you feel that the components can be used in the different set of codes or the different projects, probably that you do not have to redevelop the same component again. So you developed it once and then use it in the different projects. So that component can be used again and again. Moreover, you can say this emphasizing on the reusability if there is a possibility. Okay, so it says component-based development is a technique where predefined components or the functional units or both with specific functionalities are used to assemble the final product. Okay, so if it is an organization's data, or say we take a simple example, if we are developing a project, we all are working on the same project and working for an organization. If the data is coming or the source file is coming and the requirement is to dedupe the data before processing anything. So what we are trying to say here is create a process which deduplicate the data and store that component in the Informatica so that that same component can be used by all of us as a developers. We don't have to develop the logic again and again to deduplicate the common logic. So that is called, we are creating the component and using it again and again. PowerCenter follows the component-based development methodologies by allowing to build a data flow from a source to target using different components. Second, what it is, other thing it is trying to say, before you come to the reusability, it creates that backend logic in form of a transformation, which is itself a component. If you want to do the aggregation logics, you have a transformation called aggregator, which will do all the aggregation level calculations for you through one transformation itself. So that is called component based. So they have already categorized that into the different components which are being reused by us, the different mappings. So we are reusing the transformations. Okay, so that is what they are calling as the component based development techniques. So transformation. So whatever, see, Informatica has mainly three components in your code itself. One is source definitions. Second is target, the target definition, whatever the target structure is and the source structure is. The third is the transformation. Transformation is nothing but the, I would say, the boxes that are actually implementing your logic, be it the sorting logic or applying a formula or doing the joins or filtering out anything. So all those things are done through a transformation, which in Informatica is referred as a component. Okay. So if we go through the the transformation is a process in ETL where we actually apply the business rules in the data flow. It is here that data cleansing, formatting activities are actually performed along with the data validation. So you have all sort of transformations available. That's why I'm saying the module 3 and module 4 are the important ones, wherein we will be discussing the different transformations, and they are going to continue for a couple of sessions at least. In the PowerCenter, transformations are the functional components. In order to meet all kind of requirements, a wide range of transformations are available in Informatica to implement your logics. some advantages. The functional units are already built, so the transformations are already built. You just have to use them. Okay. Or moreover, you can use the multiple transformation to create one logic and use them again. Okay. So it says the developer need not build the logic from scratch like you do in your scripting languages or in your Oracle. You have the pre-built transformations available, and you can use them to apply your logic. This approach makes bug fixing easier because the coding is easier. Okay, so finding the bugs is pretty simple because you have to find bugs in those things which you have done, not at the back end whatever you found the pre-built. Reusability is also another factor that works in the favor of component-based development model. So some components are available by the Informatica itself, made available by the Informatica itself, and some reusability we can bring in by using these components together. So that's all we have from the first presentation. We'll quickly move on to the second presentation as well. But before that, if there are any questions, we can take up those questions. So Sujata says we should have repository server for each node, and can we have one integration service for one or more nodes? No, Sujata. So one server will have one integration service, and the same integration service cannot go to the other server that is related to that node only. So whatever components we have on that particular server, only those components can be run through that integration service. That integration service will not help in running the code which is staying on the other nodes. Okay. All right. So Aditya says go through the slides. Minutes, question answers tomorrow before you start. All right. Okay. Aditya, we'll see how we can do this. So Amol says integration service is nothing but the executable session, right? No, I would not say that. Integration service is the service which is actually running the executables. So sessions are nothing but the executables to your code. In order to run those sessions, whatever information it has to collect, whatever reader threads it has to create, all those things will be done by the integration service, Amol. Yeah. Does that answer your question, Amol? Yes, no, or you want me to unmute you? Right, seems you, yes. Okay. So in parallel processing, we have multiple servers. Not necessarily. So what Amol is asking, if we want to do the parallel processing, do we need the multiple servers? Of course, the parallel processing can be done if you have multiple servers, obviously you can run jobs in parallel on the different servers. But there are different level of parallel processing. One that we are talking is obviously the matter of parallel processing. We are running the thousands of jobs on the 10 different servers. Eventually 100 jobs per server is coming in. So that's a parallel processing. But even if we are on the one server or one node, we can do the parallel processing through reader, writer, or the transformation thread, plus using the pipeline partitioning. Okay. So Aditya asks, does Informatica run or SMP or MPP? I'm sorry, Aditya, I don't understand what is SMP or MPP. Let me. Okay, semantic multiprocessing. So I never heard of this term, Aditya. I don't think Informatica is using such processing as such. Yeah. Okay. So Gopal says, how do we integrate the application developed in on node with the other node? Okay. So why do we have to integrate the applications? Those are not the applications, Gopal. Those are the jobs that we are running on the different integration services. So ultimately what we want to integrate is the result set, the data. So for running the code, for bringing the data from one server to another server, or from one machine to another environment, we are using different integration services. But if we eventually want to integrate them, we are going to bring them into the one environment only, and there we can integrate. So let me unmute and let's discuss more on this. Yes, Gopal.
Okay, let's say I have a couple of requirements. Okay, and an application or a job for that application, a bunch of jobs that have been developed in one node by a developer A, right?
Okay.
And the related functionality, or which interacts with the other functionality, is being developed in another server or in another node.
Okay.
How? I mean, see, these two applications or the functionalities are being developed in two different nodes or Informatica client server, right? So if they have to communicate internally for any data exchange or whatever, right? So
Yes.
how do we integrate that one?
So if we are keeping into the different nodes, but if we are keeping them under one domain, then they can interact. The domain is common. The parent, the container task is common, under which they are sitting. So they can interact to each other. But if they are sitting under different domains, then they cannot interact.
No, I understand the concept of different domain altogether. That is intercommunication. Understood. Okay, I understood. This is kind of an intra-communication. Got it.
Yeah. It's kind of an intra-communication because they are all falling under same domain.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. All right, guys. So let's move further. So after every presentation, we have this survey feedback. So I would expect feedback from each one of you after our session. So we are not ending the session here. This was a smaller presentation, so we could cover it. We'll move on to the next presentation. But after the class, do fill in your feedback, and it will help us. All right. So I'm closing this. Now I do not have the copy of the other presentation, so I'll be accessing the presentation from the LMS itself. So this is my LMS where I see, if you see that these are the presentation, probably this is what we were accessing. Everything was there. This 48 slide presentation, everything is the same. Okay. Let's go to the ETL fundamentals. Let's see how much we can cover in this. Again, a theoretical one, so we'll be taking it quickly. I'll not be going into many details here. If you have any questions in between, just stop me or you can raise it and we can discuss it. All right, so ETL fundamental, the module 2, and moreover, I may not be going in the same sequence which is there. Probably see this, your module 3 and module 4, especially module 3 and module 4 is going to take more time. Module 5 may take some time, while the other modules are smaller ones, so we can cover 2 or more modules in one class. But the key ones are the module 3 and module 4 ones. All right, so we'll see what are the data integration concepts, ETL architectures, process flows, what are the ETL tasks, methods, and the implementation methodologies. So it is starting with an example. It says a problem statement, just to understand what is the data integration it is. Most of you are the experienced ones, so you and already from the BI background, so you understand this. But the people who are coming from the different backgrounds, it's important for them also. So the problem, it says a problem statement. There are large organizations which has a lot of data. The data is stored in the many formats, including different databases and the unstructured files. The data must be collated, combined, compared, and made to work as a seamless whole. So what it is saying that the company, there is an organization which has a different departments. Each department has their own set of applications, which is set up on the different kind of databases or maybe the file systems. Now, as an organization, I want all the information is coming at the one place. Okay, to do that, they are working on the different databases. They cannot communicate directly to each other. You see here, the marketing is on Oracle, one is on SAP, third is on DB2, SQL Server, PeopleSoft, Sybase, Salesforce. Excuse me. So the problem is that many organizations have implemented interfaces between these databases. Every pair of databases require a unique interface. So they said, okay, marketing and manufacturing is interacting, so they create some interfaces or application in between. But they have to develop many such applications or interfaces with each of the databases. You see how many lines are created here. Okay. If you change one database, many interfaces have to be upgraded. So say there are 3 links or 5 links connected to the manufacturing. If I change anything in the manufacturing, all the 5 interfaces or the links needs to be upgraded. That's a problem for me. Here, these red ones are showing up those links for the accounting one. So if this is an upgrade in accounting, all those links needs to be updated. So a small upgrade may result into a multiple upgrades, which will take much more time. So that's the problem organizations were facing. So as a solution to that, the data integration came into the picture. They said instead of directly interacting with every other application, we create a hub in between, which we called as a data integration hub, and all the applications are interacting with this hub and storing the information there, sharing the information there, and will be directly interacting with the data integration for retrieval of any information related to the any environment. So this data integration you can also refer as a data warehouse, wherein we are fetching the information from all the departments and storing it at one place. And from this data warehouse, we are doing the reporting and showing the reports to the different set of users. Okay, so it says the definitions, the data integration is a method, technique, or the technology that deals with the extraction, restructuring, data movements, or loading of data to analytical data stores or the repositories or the data warehouse, so that it can be used by the reporting applications. A framework of applications, product, techniques, technologies for providing a unified and the consistent view of the enterprise-wide business data. So see, the main purpose is to bring all the information at one place and store it in a unified manner so that it can be accessed. Just taking the information from all the system and dumping it into at one place will not help. You have to modify it, you have to transform it in such a way so that all the information is stored in a unified manner, okay, in a consistent manner. So it says the goal of data integration is to provide uniform access to available data in multiple autonomous, heterogeneous, or distributed data sources. So they are just talking about the different steps available involved actually. The uniform, the same query interface to all sources, even though the individual applications are lying on the different environments or different platforms, we have to bring them onto the common platform. We cannot say business user to use the different technologies or different platforms to access the different data. Okay, so bringing them to on one platform. Then access to queries, eventually to updates to, then multiple involves multiple sources. So all those things are just the steps how you would be doing the integration. Okay. So question comes from the Sujata. She says that what is the difference between a tool and the framework? Okay. So tool is something, framework is something which is a logical structure. Okay. How the information or the information will be gathered from the different applications, how it will be processed. While the tool is something which we'll use to implement the process using that framework, according to that framework. So altogether different thing. Tool is, you can say, your weapons, and framework is something which is the you're planning how you are going to implement that. Yeah. All right. So now it is talking about the different types of data integrations, different styles. So there is a traditional data warehouse, there is a real-time data warehouse, operational data access, data virtualization, process integration, search technology, native APIs, or data access. So let's go through these warehouses as well. Okay, probably in next slides we'll have it in details. I'm not. So traditional data warehouses. The data is gathered from the multiple sources to create an aggregated repository of information. Data can be extracted from production sources as it is generated or in the periodic stages. So it could be a real-time information. As and when it happens, we get the data, or we can get it on the periodic stages, like at the end of the day or end of the week or end of the month. Okay. So if you see the example below, there are three operational systems: shipping, billing, and support. All the information is gathered from these individual operational systems and being stored on the data warehouse, from where the reporting is being done. Okay. Generally, these are the batch system, the periodic stages there. So we store the information or fetch the information at the end of the day or end of a certain period. Okay. Data warehouses are generally not on the real-time systems. If there is any real-time system, it is not a data warehouse. Real-time data warehouses. Again, it's not a data warehouse, but yes, a system which is using the real-time information. So it says a trickle feeding the data warehouse, meaning new records are added right away. So generally, data warehouses are huge, very huge in volumes, in size. So we cannot just simply go and update the information there. Okay. Disadvantages of directly updating the data warehouses would be it will change the reporting results. So we don't do the updates this way on the data warehouse. But again, to understand this real-time data warehouse, it is talking about the trickle feeding the data warehouse. Means we are accessing the real-time information, updating it, and getting the results. Okay, so as soon as the new data is entered into one or other operational system, it is extracted, transformed, loaded into the real-time repository. That real-time repository is not a data warehouse, but a common place from where maybe you can use that information for sending out the alerts. I had explained about the ATM example there. So your transactional system is one of the operational database wherein you are storing all the transactional information. So as soon as you do the transaction at the ATM, that information goes to the transaction system. We capture that information and store it into a real-time common store from where the alerts are sent out to the individual customers. Okay. Operational data access. So generally, what we do is operational BI application get their information from an automated workflow. Okay. There is less latency between when an event occurs. So what we are doing, we are creating a replica of the actual systems. Okay. And probably you can say the kind of a backup there. Data virtualization, we did talk about this as well. So what we are doing, we are trying to do the reporting without having a data warehouse. So if your different departments are low on volumes, low complexity, what we do, we directly read the information and directly use it for the reporting. We omit the data integration part that we have seen, so that is not there. We are directly doing it, and on the fly we are integrating the data, doing the aggregation and producing the results in the reports itself. That is called data virtualization. Again, it is not possible for the bigger organization, but yes, for the smaller organization, companies do go for it because it requires a less cost. Process integration. Okay, so there now you see here there are three basic categories of process integrations: real-time alerts, process-driven BI, or the transactional integrations. So all in these three cases, you have to interact with the different processes. Okay, so it is not just that you are reading from the operational system and loading into one place. You are reading from the different type of sources, storing at one place. Then there are other processes which are waiting for that information, and from there you are sending that information to the. So if you see that this is the real-time alerting system, which is shown in this diagram. So the first symbol which is shown here is, it is nothing but the electronic transaction which is happening. As soon as it happens, the information gets stored into the billing database. Now there is a listener sitting on the top of billing, which sees that what transactions are happening on the billing database. As soon as a transaction enters into the billing database, this listener listens and uses that information, fetches this information and sends it to the individual users. Okay, and information is processed. So the process integration is different processes are integrated with each other. It cannot happen that again this pictorial view is much simpler. It actually consists a lot of complexity. So, but yes, at the very high level, that's how the process integration is. Different processes are coming together to achieve a functionality. Search technology, again, it allows user to find data across disparate applications and databases even when they don't know what they are looking for. Again, we have the different search engines available in the market. So they use all those applications, and using all those applications, there are the listener settings which are looking for those transactions happening and suggesting you that what all information you are looking for. So like in the Google, if we go for, when we type one character, you see the multiple options available. So those are not coming automatically. There is some technology involved at the backend which is giving you all the options available, and that's what it is talking about. Again, in most of them, there is no data warehouse involved except the traditional ones. Okay. So now it is talking about the web services. So it says one of the most effective way of data access is via web services. It solves many different problems. So developers create web services to extract a subset of information from internal databases. Again, the web services require their own set of tools. Okay. So it is good to have the web services, but there are some performance issues on the web services. You cannot access the large volumes of data through web services. Okay, but yes, this is another way of accessing the information. Generally, master data management information is accessed through the web services. Okay, so I'm not going into much detail of all these. I'm just touching them. Data integration within the cloud comes in many forms. Two of the more common scenarios is leveraging cloud sources and storing data into the cloud. So cloud is nothing but a common platform which is accessible to all, like the web services or the something putting it on the web. If you put it on the web or your site, it is accessible to all. Okay, so that is what it is trying to do, loading the information on the cloud or getting the information from cloud. So integration point is nothing but a cloud, the web, where all the information is stored. Okay, coming to the conclusion, what all in all it is trying to say is we have to have a unified data integration framework, which is keeping the information in a unified manner, regardless from how many disparate sources the information is read. No matter which integration platform is used or where the data is stored, the enterprise should derive maximum value from its investment by using an integration framework. The key here is the ability to implement different styles of integration seamlessly, so that multiple products don't need to be purchased for different uses. Okay. So now it is all on the theory part. Do not want to discuss all this. This will not be very useful for you all. I'm just going through the slides. If you feel that anything needs to be discussed, we'll discuss that. Otherwise, they are not so helpful for you. Okay. So there has to be a different data capture activities involved. How to extract the data, whether it would be the whole data you will be capturing every time. So when you read from the different sources, or maybe one source, you have to identify that what data you need to extract. Your source system may have millions or billions of rows, but you may not require all the millions or billions of rows. So you have to identify the clear filters, or maybe if you are dealing with a transactional system, you have to identify that you fetch the information day-wise, or maybe from the last extract onwards only, not the whole information, because it will save you a lot of time. So capture strategy should be clearly defined. Probably it is a part of your design that will tell you that how the information needs to be extracted, needs to be captured. There is another concept called CDC. Probably you all are, you may be aware of it, which is called change data capture, wherein you identify that how to capture the changed data only. You do not want the. So what happens when we read from the different applications or the other applications, how the source system reacts is they say, I have this source system, I'm giving you the access. Now it's up to you to decide what do you need. I'm giving you read access on my database. I'm owning the application. I'm giving access to you all that this is my application. This is the read-only user and the password. Go ahead and extract whatever you want. I don't have any issues. But don't ask me to give me any specific information. If you need specific information, derive a way to find out the specific information. I am not going to help. The only thing I'm going to give you is the read-only user and password, and probably my application address and all, port numbers and the application IP addresses. That's all. So that strategy has to be defined at our level. Source target mapping is again a part of your design, that which source field should be going to your target, or what all transformation needs to be done in between. So this is kind of a document you get when you are working as an Informatica developer. This is a kind of a document you get, which is called source target mapping. On the one hand side, left hand side, you will have all the source fields listed, while on the right hand side you'll have all the target fields listed. And in between you may have some transformation logic. If there is no transformation logic, you'll have one-to-one mappings there. Source to target column mappings. So source data triage is about extracting all data with potential value. Okay. Source data structure are analyzed to determine the appropriate data element. So Your source may be multiple. It may have the n number of columns, or it may not have the columns which you require in your target. You might have to derive that column by using multiple source columns. So all those things should be clearly defined in your design system, design document. Data capture design consideration. So as I said, there could be CDC logics applicable if you need the incremental load to be run every time. Then you may need the source date timestamps, the transaction file logs, or the replicate source data changes. So there could be different methods of implementing or extracting the incremental data. Even we will be capturing few methods in our upcoming classes, how to capture the incremental data. Now it says a snapshot, the handling time variance or the technique methods. So there could be different methods through which you can capture the time variant data. The data which is varying through the time, obviously all the transaction data is varying through the time. So you can take the snapshots. So when we see that the companies are coming up with the quarterly results, right? So we see that the different companies are giving their quarterly results at the after the quarter end. So say the first quarter, which is from January to March. So quarter results are being published by the company in say April end or May end or maybe June end. Okay. So what do? They capture the snapshot information. They capture the information as of end of the first quarter, as of 31st of March. They captured that information on that day and stored it in their data warehouse or the databases. And whenever they do their calculations after their quarter closed activities, then they use that snapshot of 31st March to do the calculations of profits and losses for that particular quarter. That is called snapshot method. All right. So when we say that ETL and we talk about the transformation may mean any of these 7 items. It could be selection, it could be filtration, conversion from one format to another format, or maybe deriving the information, translation, derivation, summarization, doing the summarization, getting the information at the summation level or at some particular level, applying all the aggregate formulas, or organize into the program scripts, modules, jobs. So all such kind of transformations can be done in Informatica through the different transformations available. Again, nothing to explain here as such. We know what the selection is. Filtering is how to filter the data. Conversion, changing the formats of the data elements, could be date formats or could be data type conversions. Derivations, creating new values using multiple incoming values or by hard coding or by using some formulas. Summarization, creating new data values, okay, by applying the summarized formulas, aggregate formulas. Okay, so this is all we would be doing. If you bifurcate or you can you divide your ETL process. So probably these all components will come into the picture. Again, the theory part, completely theory part. In the implementation, probably you'll not think much about it. But in the theory, when you read from the source system, you first think about the data access. Then you'll look for the data mapping, that which column maps to what column of the target. Then you'll think about the logics which require for the data transformation, data conversion, and data cleansing. And then at the end, you'll be thinking about the data movements, how the data can be moved to the target level. Okay, so that is the data loading part. A simple view, how do you actually read from the operational systems or the source system in a typical data warehouse. You capture the information, scrub as in you massage the information, remove the unnecessary information, scrub it, tune it, put it into a unified format, do all kind of transformations. If any data needs to be changed, you do that transformation there, and eventually there you load the data. There could be other data reconciliation methodologies which a particular organization may be following, so that at the end of it, they rest assured that whatever information is loaded is complete and correct. Okay, so in the extraction process, there could be two methods: static extract, capturing a snapshot of the source data at a given point in time; incremental extract, capturing changes only that have occurred since the last static extract. Okay. Scrub, fixing error, misspellings, erroneous dates, incorrect fields, mismatched addresses. So all that information comes under the scrubbing part. Okay. Also decoding, reformatting, time stamping, all these minor changes that you would be doing or any error handling you would be doing, it will come under the scrubbing part. Okay. See, when we do the capture information, at that time we don't take care of those things. We just say that, okay, we need the last week's information. We'll pick up, we'll look at the timestamps and pick all last 7 days information. But scrubbing is the part where we actually decide that how to probably clear the data, how you scrub it, how you remove the unnecessary things, or how can you correct the information. Okay, I see a hand raised by Mohan. So Mohan, just give me a minute. Let's complete this slide and I'll take up your question. Next is transform. So transform could be that you have to join some information, apply the aggregations, do the selective selection of data that you may not require all the data every time. So all those things you would be doing as part of data transformation. And last, the refresh mode. When you load the data, you have to decide what kind of load you want to do. You want to write in bulk, or you want to write in update mode, you want to insert, update, or delete, or you want to ignore the information. All those things are there. Yeah. All right. So let me come to the questions. I see a couple of things coming in. Okay. So let's start with the Mohan. All right, Mohan. I'm unmuting you. Yeah. Tell me.
Yeah, Sunil. While you're talking about the scrubbing process, I think what I understood was we do some changes while we are doing scrubbing.
Yes.
So does it, like, we are changing the data from original data, we are making some changes and we are storing it into the target. So what about the original database?
So original data is anyway stored in the source system. So if our requirement is to scrub the information or is to correct the information before loading into our target database, then we'll have to take care of that. So it may not be applicable on all the applications you develop. Wherever there is a scrubbing requirement, you will be doing it in those cases only.
Okay, so here my question is, when we scrub, say for example, in the original database, the spelling of Mohan is M-O-H-N-A, and you made the correction in scrubbing, and you made it as correct, and you loaded into the target database. But in future, we are not at all moving the corrected one to the original database, right?
No. So see, generally
there is a conflict.
Yeah. Generally, how it happens is source systems are not our responsibility. This is some external system which is giving us the rights to their information, and we are getting that information, scrubbing that information and loading into our database for our use. It's like our company requires some market data. So we are asking the other marketing companies to provide their information. Obviously, we are paying that our company is paying some money to them for buying that information, and we are taking it, and we are using that information. As part of reconciliation, what we do is we count the number of records that we have done. So if you have filtered those records, we try to keep that count and whatever records you loaded. And at the summation, when we do the filtered records and the loaded record summation, it should match with the original source count. But information we are not going to match, because anyway we are doing the data transformation after that. We are changing the information anyway. We are deriving the information anyway. So that reconciliation is anyway not possible.
Okay, but will it not be issue, like, of course I talk about the name change, it may not impact, but if you are changing some numbers, like, will it not impact when you are doing some kind of balancing between the original and the target?
See, the balancing, as I said, will not be doing balancing as such that we will be changing the numbers. So say if we are, for example, if we have the information coming in for the bank statements, wherein you have the different transaction information, some debit or credit information. So at that time, we might be changing few things, but definitely will not be changing the transaction amount numbers.
Okay.
So that is a wrong practice if we are changing the transaction amount, because as you are saying, correct, that will not be able to reconcile anytime. Yes. And that is again, we cannot change the original numbers. But some information, as in, like somewhere the check entry is referred as CHQ, while somewhere it is referred as a CHEQUE.
Okay.
So we are
we are trying to streamline it. Okay.
Yes, unifying the information actually.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, next is Gopal. So sure, Gopal, we will. I'll get in touch. Then it does not need to be database. It can be any files, right? So Aditya says it does not need to be database every time. Can be files. Yes, it can be any kind of raw data, Aditya. Nothing particular to the database. Not at all. So Sujata says generally scrubbing is used only when migrations are done. Not necessarily. Scrubbing is generally done when you are reading especially from the different kind of databases, and your information being stored in a different manner, the same information. Like say for the country. So some application, say there is a country, say America, okay, United States. So some applications are storing that information as US. Some are storing as USA, other are storing at United States of America, and other application is storing as America. All means the same, right? So we are, as part of our scrubbing, we are storing that information in unified manner, saying whether it's a USA or US or maybe United States of America, they all mean the same. Okay. Okay. I'm completing Sujata's questions first. So first, while testing data in test environment, we bring some records. No. Okay, so Sujata, this is we are not bringing the information from the production environment. So that is the testing methodology, whichever way you test it. So that is from the source system the information is coming. Obviously, if you are reading the production information, real-time information, you need to decrypt it in such a way that you're not using the original information. But yeah, it has scrubbing. Do you have still any questions on the scrubbing, Sujata? I can unmute you and we can discuss it. Okay, good. So next question is from Mr. Gopal. What is the difference between a scrubbing and the transformation? So scrubbing is, we are doing the scrubbing at the basic level. We are trying to put the information at the unified manner. While transformation is, we are deriving the information. Okay, I have to apply the formula. I have to find out the percentage. Okay, so I'll be applying the formula, or I have to get the new salaries of the employees with the as per the new appraisal system. So all that information I'll be doing as part of transformation. Okay, so that is called transformation. Scrubbing is, we are not changing the information, we are just trying to put it in a same format. Okay, Gopal, does that answer your question? Scrubbing versus transformation. Well, I would say you can say that. So what Gopal is saying, the massaging is scrubbing, and while deriving the other data from source is transformation. I would say the massaging as well as deriving the information can be a part of transformation. Scrubbing, scrubbing could be, I would say, where we are not changing the information. So yes, massaging, some part of massaging could be scrubbing, while most of it, the deriving information comes under the transformation. But so you are in a way right that massaging can be called as scrubbing. Yes, yes, you can say that. Yes, so scrubbing means preparation of data, or you can say the massaging, the whatever the high level or the small level of corrections you may have to do will come under a scrubbing only. Okay. All right. Any further questions? That's fine, Gopal. Any further questions, anyone? Anything coming in your mind? So Amol, you're asking it can be structured as well as unstructured. I didn't get the construct. Are you talking about the source data? Do you want me to unmute you? So yes, the source data can be structured or the unstructured. There is absolutely no foundation. We cannot have control over the other applications. So it can be of any format. We have to identify the way to understand or read the information from the structured as well as unstructured source systems. So yes, it can be of any type. All right. Okay. So let me quickly see what we have further in this. So Shiva asks, updating data can be done at the target level or at the scrub level. So no, we cannot do it at the scrub level. Scrub level, we are not changing the information. So updation of information will always be done at the target level if required. So Aditya says, can Informatica handle the unstructured data? So in some certain cases, yes, we can. Informatica can handle unstructured data, Aditya. But yes, with the help of the different connectors only. If you say the simple unstructured data cannot be handled directly by the Informatica, we need a special connectors. Obviously, it is provided by Informatica, but yes. Yes, Hadoop connector is one of them. There are many other connectors as well. Yes. Probably these are the slides that you can go through by yourself. There's nothing much to explain in this. So there are two concepts available: pull and push. When you go to the read from the different application. So pull is something when the responsibility is ours. So source system has given us the access to read the information. So we go into their system and fetch the information. This is called pull. While the push says, the Informatica, that source system says that I'll not give you the access on my system. You tell me what you need. I'll get that information from system and push that information or transfer that information to your server. Then you use whatever way you want to use it. So that is the pull and the push methodologies generally we have. So either your method would be pull or the push. Okay. Both of the processes have their own set of advantages and disadvantages. Pull says no additional space required to store the data that needs to be loaded. Because we are going into their system, fetching the information, processing it on the fly, and loading it on our target database. So at our level, we do not require additional space. But the disadvantage is burden comes on the transactional system, on the source system. Because when we want to load it, we are directly linking to the source system, making connections to the external applications, in turn delaying the process. While push says we need the additional space on our system, but that transactional system dependency will not be there. We can get the information anytime and will process it as per our time. So performance gain is there, and there is no, I would say, the dependency time-wise on the transactional system. Whenever their system is free, they can push the information to our servers, and then we can use it as per our cycles. The push and pull is a concept sometimes asked as well. So again, talking about the different systems, what are the different systems available? A very simplified picture of ETL, source, extract, use the PowerCenter. So again, for extract also we are using the PowerCenter, transform the data in between and load it into the target. This is a snapshot of a mapping that you'll be creating when we'll move on to the next classes. Just a quick overview how it happens. See, Informatica, the coding that you do in the Informatica, you require a mapping first. So mapping is nothing but the layout of your logic. That is a key thing. That how the source will look like, what all columns would be there in your source, how will you read that particular column, what all logics you will be applying there, and how it will going to the target. So all that linking, that the layout thing you will be creating as part of your Informatica mapping. So once that mapping is created, you have to run that mapping. So you need an executable. So like you write a program in any of the languages, you create the executable. Similarly, whatever mapping you create, you have to create the executable of that mapping, which is called session. For a session, there is a parent task which is called workflow. Okay, so all the transformation will be part of mappings. All the sessions will be part of workflows. Workflows will be created in the workflow manager. Mappings will be created in the designer. Okay, so you will understand it more once we see the screens. Okay, so it says the source definitions. You can have the different type of sources available. You will have the different data types available, different lengths and precisions as well. So that's completes our second module. So now in tomorrow's class, I am not moving to the third module. Rather, we will be discussing more on dimensional modeling. What is dimensional modeling? What is the data warehousing things? What are the facts? What are the dimensions? What are the key definitions available? Because those would be the concepts would be very useful for your interview questions or maybe your internal discussions that you have with your teams. So those are the key items I feel are there. So I'll be sharing my presentations and we'll be discussing those points. and that will complete our theory at that time, and then we'll move on to the module 3, which is Informatica PowerCenter Designer. Right? So probably I'll recommend that you at least go through the quiz, okay, which you have in your modules, both the modules, ETL module 1 and module 2, and we'll tomorrow when we start the class, first I'll go through these quizzes so that I understand your understanding levels, and then we'll move on to the next topics.